What's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is Real Estate Uncensored, where you learn how to build an audience online, attract the right clients, work with the people that you want to work with, all that fun stuff. I honestly, I think I give a slightly different tagline every time, and I'm the one that wrote the tagline, but that's okay. We're going to have some fun. We got Sean Osborn here with us today. He's a mindset strategist, a coach. He's been doing some of the back end coaching for the new, the program that was on the back end of Dean Graziosi's new book. So he's getting to talk to a lot of experience, but also new entrepreneurs every day. And we're going to talk about how to stop thinking small and how to think bigger, our own internal beliefs, our mindset. We're going to get some mindset things right. We're going to finally fix Greg. It's going to be great. Maybe I can finally relinquish my title as certified Greg Wrangler if we can only get Greg right. So this is going to be a little open therapy session between Sean and Greg. We're going to finally get him straightened out. Before we bring Sean in, we've got Gene Volpe, the Evil Bald Ninja, is here. What's up, man? And then, of course, the Junior Grandmaster in the co-pilot seat where you so belong, Greg McDaniel. What's up today?
What's up? As creepy as I could possibly be. It
was pretty good. It was pretty good.
Thank you.
Yeah, so are you sure you don't have to notify the neighbors that you're there? Have you had to make that stop yet?
I thought it was mandatory.
Yeah, I was going to say, sure. I think they have to sign something. Yeah, you can't just say you met the neighbors. I think they have to sign off on it.
In Texas, you have to have a sign in your yard.
Do you really, Sean?
Do you really?
Oh my God.
Okay.
I was going to say, hey, it's just the fact that I thought that might be true says everything you need to know about Texas. I would like to point that out.
Oh man, no, super good. I'm super excited. Gene looked super stunned for 1 second. He's wanted to say something. He's like, okay, I'm not going to say anything. But Sean and I were talking off air, pre-show, and we had some really good dialogue in regards to thinking big, and we were exchanging stories. And I love this topic. I think a lot of folks, unfortunately, I know Sean is the expert, and we're going to have him drop hammer. We all think too small in every aspect of life: who we date, what we eat, our bodies, our business, our income. If Matt's book is micro famous or macro famous, we don't know, but he says micro, so he's thinking small. It's okay. We still love him.
We don't know. We said we don't know. Can I tell you something? That second one you said eating. I don't eat small. That's part of my problem.
Well, what I'm saying is eating like we stop ourselves from doing things that we want. Like I find myself to stop doing things that I like. So I'll eat something that I know I don't like because I think it's better for me when it's in reality it's on par, but I don't want to up my game to a micro level or a macro level and just go for something different. Like yesterday, I ate a sandwich when what I really wanted was a fucking hot dog, and I didn't go for the hot dog. I wanted 2 of them.
That's what you do. Wait, that's what you did to be better? You still ate the carbs and the bread? You ate a sandwich? That was your way of being better and not eating the hot dog?
Gene, this is an analogy. Just go with the fucking flow, okay?
Oh, you were going to say like a salad. I'm going to eat a hot dog. I ate a salad.
I think he's thinking bigger. He's thinking bigger in terms of the layer of stuff covering up his abs. That's what's getting bigger. All right, let's because I want to get to. I don't want to have our guests sitting on the sidelines. So Sean, give us a little bit of insight. Just 60-second bio, kind of who you are, where you are, what you do.
Well, I think it all really started when I was 16, just a little bit of background. 16, uneducated, basically kicked out of school, told to get out of school by the age of 16. So I was uneducated, pretty much living on the streets. And that's when my then girlfriend came to me and said, Sean, guess what? I'm pregnant with our kid. Remember, this is about talking a little bit earlier about having kids real early. Mm-hmm. And that moment was probably the most defining moment in my life. That's when you really there's things that happen in your life that you have to sit back and really say, okay, is this really the way I want to go? Is this really what I want to do for life? I can't even provide for myself, let alone a family. And that's really when things change, when we make that decision in life for whatever it is what we want. But when we make a decision and we draw the line in the sand, that's when things change. And that's when we start thinking different. And that really started my whole journey into mindset, into, how our mind, everything we have around us is 100% from our thoughts. 100% from our beliefs. If you have a problem in your life financially, if you have a problem in your life with relationships, you've got a mindset issue. You've got thoughts. You've got beliefs that don't support another way. You are where you are because of your thoughts, 100%. No other way around it. That's it.
Yeah.
You know what? I completely believe you on that. And the reason why, I actually had a conversation this week. It took me almost 2 years to have this conversation with my two business partners in regards to something that I needed to have changed. And I had a belief system around it, and my thoughts stopped me. And I broke through it. And I'll tell you one thing, when I got done with that phone call, all three of us on that call, you could feel the energy change. It was a release of pressure that was there. Are you seeing that with a lot of people when it comes to, their thoughts and their beliefs, when they actually take action? One of my favorite quotes is, fear is basically the thief of your success, because you're afraid to make that next move forward, whatever that is.
Yeah, absolutely. And, fear is, buck everything and run. That's what most people do when they get into fear. And to me, so one of the things that I believe in is daily getting out of our damn comfort zones. I mean, you are where you are, and you're never going to be any different, any further, if you don't get out and do fearful things. If you don't get out and go above where you are today, you're where you're going to be the rest of your life. We have to continually go and get out of, you hear people say the comfort zone, you hear it a million different ways, but if you think the same things you think today, you're never going to get any different. You have to go, you got to think differently to be different. You have to.
So what does thinking differently look like?
It's really thinking big. The big is a framework for beliefs. How you hear everybody say, thoughts become things, and that's 100% true. But if thoughts become things, where did they come from? And you hear people say, you're the average of the 5 people that you hang out with. Is that where your thoughts come from? Or you hear people, so beliefs are, if thoughts are king, beliefs are the kingdom. You're never going to have thoughts outside of your belief system. So, for instance, if you are not healthy and you want to, if your belief is I'm fat, if your belief, and you don't even know your beliefs, but if your belief is I'm fat or I'm not healthy, it doesn't matter what you do. Your thoughts are going to go in line with what your beliefs are. So your thoughts really are controlled by your beliefs. So the thing is changing your beliefs to be where you want your life to be. Your thoughts will go in line with that.
I am dating a woman right now. I wrote it down.
She must be a saint.
Oh, she kicks the shit out of me every fucking day. Are you kidding me? And I'm thankful for it. And
I don't know about saintly. Just she just doesn't take any of his crap.
She does not. That is 100% true. But the point is that, like, the vehicle I'm driving right now, I had that exact vehicle down to the brake colors on my wall for 4 years. The woman I'm dating is exact minus one attribute. She's exactly the woman that I wanted to meet. And I meditated on it, and I thought about it, and I went towards it on a daily basis. I have a couple of other things I'm working on, and there's things that are happening. They're generating towards that. It is the most powerful, energetic thing you can possibly do. Do you recommend when it comes to thinking big? And I'm hogging the mic because I don't want Matt to talk, because he's just going to talk about micro things. It's okay.
Or rapping.
Or rapping with long hair. Yeah, that's true. When it comes to thinking big, is there anything that would be too big, or is there no limit in your opinion?
There's absolutely no limit. Again, we produce whatever we have in life based on our thoughts. So if thoughts become things, why the fuck would you think small? You're going to get what you think about. So why would you think small? Think as big as you possibly can. And one of the things I take my clients through is a whole process of basically remembering, is remembering your future. And I have a whole thing that's just remember your future. You actually build a memory, like what you did, you posted that up on your wall, but you build a memory, how it felt. how it smelled, what it looked like, what you were doing, acting as if you were there, and you're building this memory. And that, I'm telling you, that is one of the most powerful tools that you can do, because again, I am 100% believer in thoughts become things. No other way.
I think we can end the show right there with remember your future. It's been a great show. Thank you guys. We really appreciate you.
That's right. Pull a George Costanza and just pull the ripcord and exit the room. Like I said one good thing. That's it. I'm done. But that is really good. I mean, that goes back to, Tony Robbins has talked about that. I mean, it goes back to psycho-cybernetics, kind of forming that picture that you're always like a heat-seeking missile. Like the more you focus on that picture, it's not the thoughts become things just automagically or something like that. It's like did
you just say automagically?
Yes, I did. Intentionally, by the way. Yeah. It's a real made up word that means something that I meant it to mean, but yeah.
Just check Matt's dictionary.
Automatically. Exactly. Just check the micro dictionary. It's a very slim booklet of all the stuff that I say that irritates you. But it's one of those things where that vision picture, I love the phrasing of that, like building a memory, because that literally is kind of what you're doing. It's the same process. Like he goes through this in psycho-cybernetics, where he talks about like how those like worry and anxiety is the flip side of this, right? It's the negative use of that ability. We have that God-given ability to form this picture of a better future, and then we kind of move in that direction, and our actions and our decisions move us closer, and then the universe kind of bends to that will. We just don't think about it that way, but that's what worry is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd like to ask a question. I mean, aside from the fact that you just brought religion into this, Matt Johnson, with your L. Ron Hubbard book, Psycho.
Sorry, I just got interviewed by a Methodist pastor yesterday, so I guess
really?
I did, yeah.
I was actually only kidding. L. Ron Hubbard did not write that book, by the way.
No,
but
L. Ron Hubbard.
But I'm curious about this, like. And I don't know this is the right place to ask this question, because I don't think we've dug in far enough. But like before the show, we were talking about one of our past guests, Chris Naugle, and you had him on your show, and we were talking like about the things that he does and how he helps people with their wealth. And I was sitting next to people in the room when we were talking about it, and not that these guys were these people that I'm talking about, but I just got it became clear to me, because I was able to actually understand that something like this exists. Right? Like, so you only know what you know. So how do you get somebody who maybe is in the lower third or comes up poor? I don't want to make generalities, but you understand what I'm saying, right? That maybe didn't have the same interruptions and information that Sean Osborn had. How do we get them the information to say, like, look, you're thinking way too small. You're stuck in your space. Like, if you don't know what you don't know, how do you get to know what you should know? If that makes sense.
Yeah. And so to me, I was absolutely blessed with being kicked out of school in the 9th grade, because, and I know that sounds weird, and I know people are going to hear that and it's going to sound real weird, but I was not programmed to know what I couldn't do. So I feel very blessed that I got out when I did, only because by the time I was 20, I was going to billionaires, real estate and investment trust companies, and pitching my company. Now, even today, it's like, God, if I look back now and I'm going to go, God, man, that took a lot of balls to go. I was going in, but at the time, I didn't know any better. I didn't know what I was supposed to do, what I wasn't. I didn't know it wasn't normal to go in and just sit down in these conference rooms with these, millionaires and billionaires and say, hey, you need to give me money for my company. So I think almost reprogramming people on what's possible and showing people what's possible.
There's a couple of things. I'm writing notes, and when I'm looking down, I'm not being disrespectful. I'm actually writing notes because I want to bring up some conversation topics here real quick. It's probably more like 6 months ago. My girlfriend just remodeled the house you see behind me, and not that I drink all the time, but I mean, she had told me, she's like, no more vodka for you, and I'm like, motherfucker, I want my fucking vodka. And so I sat there. Like, it was a Friday night, and I sat there and I plotted and planned, and I just put an enormous amount of energy. Like, how can I scheme her so that I can get my vodka? Not that I needed the drink. It was because I couldn't get it, right? So I was plotting and planning. So like what you're saying, now it's not thinking big, but it's just a funny story. We come into this house that was behind that's here. This was not what it looked like. It was literally nothing but sticks. The whole place was gutted. The only things were here. There was an oven somewhere over there, and then the refrigerator where it was. And I was like, fuck, I've got to find this. And I thought about it and thought about it and thought about it and thought about it. I went to the refrigerator. The only thing in there was a brand new, unopened, giant bottle of vodka. And I was like, what the shit? Like, this is insane, you know? And it was incredible because, you know, it taught me a very valuable lesson that what you put your mind to can manifest itself, no matter if it's a car, a relationship, a bottle of vodka, a cup, whatever it is. You know, Matt's, you know, healthy shapely kids that are not obese and denting, you know, concrete as they walk or trot.
It was a nice family picture. I liked it.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, that was the beach day. That was the beach day. You know, it was a good one. You know, when it comes to worries, what is Gene doing?
I'm thinking of stuff that I want to make happen. Go ahead, keep going.
For everyone listening,
Gene's manifesting. Yeah, exactly. Manifesting takes a lot of energy, so it's important to cover your eyes.
And
So wait, so Greg, just to recap, you're telling me you manifested a bottle of vodka in your fridge.
That's what he did.
When your girlfriend, who knows you better than anyone, told you not to drink as much vodka.
Well, no, she told me I couldn't go buy any. So then I didn't go buy any. And we were in a house that was completely gutted. The only thing was a refrigerator and a stove that was left because they were going to be selling it. And all of a sudden, the only thing in this thing was a bottle of vodka. So it was manifestation. And the thing is about worry is that worrying is one of my favorite quotes is worry is a prayer for what you don't want.
That's very true.
And I use that a lot. And Sean, when it comes to thinking big, when I was single, I would go on dates, and for fun, just to see how these women would think, I would play the game of 3. Now, don't get your mind in the gutter, people. Okay, this is a family show.
I was when you said 3, I was already there.
Way ahead of you. Yeah, we skedaddled right past everything and went right to the gutter.
I would
keep going, Greg.
It was the game of 3, and I would ask them, okay, so you invented air. You're a quadrillionaire. Like, you could have a diamond encrusted, you know, aircraft carrier to go get groceries. Okay, there's no money, no boundaries, no nothing. And I said, give me 3 homes, 3 modes of transportation, and 3 businesses that you'd be involved with. And it was astonishing to how small people thought. Like, I just want to get a bicycle and own like a yoga place and do yoga. I'm like, oh fuck, are you fucking for real? It was killing me. But I mean, how do people get out of that mindset? How do people get to that next level of thinking? Like, you know what, Matt? I'm going to take my 747 that's platinum. I'm going to fly it to my my aircraft carrier, where I'm then going to get my submarine, which is also a train, and I'm going to go to France for lunch.
All right, so I think the question there, Sean, was how do you take people that they want to make progress, and maybe they are making progress, because you're running across people that, like, they took a step forward. They got into coaching. They bought a book. These are not people that are just sitting. They're not just bumps on the log on a couch and you're trying to shake them and break them of something. They've already taken a step forward. So you're at least working with that. You're working with the raw material of somebody that wants to make change. They want to do something differently. They might already have some goal in mind. So you're trying to get them to think bigger. So number one, I guess the first question before we get to that is, why is it essential to think bigger? Why do people need that in order to, like, get them out of their, is it to get them out of their comfort zone, because the thinking big is like the only thing that gets them out of it? Let's start there, and then we'll talk a little bit about it. Just how do you get somebody to think bigger if they're already taking the steps towards self-development?
Right. And you have to do it on purpose. It's not going to happen by accident. You have to purposely learn to think bigger. It's funny, like when I first start coaching people, I ask them 2 questions. What do you want? And normally that's met with, I want to be happy. I want more money. I want to own a strip club, something like that.
Ooh.
But you ask them, what you don't want. And I'm telling you, every single person, I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't want this. I definitely don't want this. And it's like, okay, let's go back. If thoughts are things and you know exactly what you don't want and you have no idea what you do want, what the hell do you think you're manifesting in your life? You're manifesting exactly what you don't want. It's like when I hear people that it drives me crazy. I'm saving up for a rainy day. Why the fuck would you save up for a rainy day? Because if you're thinking about a rainy day, guess what you're going to get? You can get a fucking rainy day. It's like, why don't you save up for the best damn trip in the world that you've ever done? Save up to do a trip around the world. Don't save for a rainy day. Because again, everything we think is the universe is trying to manifest that in a way that it knows how physically. And here's the thing. It doesn't know big from little. It doesn't know. So if you say, I want more money, it might say, okay, well, here's $1. You got more money. You got what you want. Now go away. You've got to be very, very specific on what you want. It's like what Greg did. He had the car up on his wall for months or for years. You have to be very specific to what you want, because that is what manifests, and the specificity is what manifests what you get. And you look at any books going back literally forever. I'm Think and Grow Rich. You have to be very detailed on what it is that you want. Very, very specific. You can't say, I want more of this or I want less of this.
So it's kind of like, and this is an analogy I've used, and Sean, I'd love to get your opinion on this. When I've done a lot of mental work on this. So, I really enjoyed this conversation. One of the things I always told myself, and I was told, is that your mind is your own personal Amazon, and the universe is the delivery system. Nothing is out of reach. If you want to date Taylor Swift, fucking go for it, homie. There's a high probability. Matt's been talking to me about listening to her music more and more, and I'm finally succumbing to his suggestions and listening to her music. And he's been, he wants to date her. It's incredible. And everyone at home who's listening, he's just shaking his head in complete disgust.
Oh God, I can't. Can you imagine dating somebody whose music you hate, and how often I'd have to just plug my ears with something to keep me from killing myself?
But well, we are business partners, so then there's that. Mm-hmm. But the thing is that Sean, talk to me a little bit about that. And how people can get past that, because I'm writing down, talking about what you want, right? And I thought about that when you said that. I'm like, what the fuck do I want? Like, how specific am I on that? And I came to the conclusion really quickly, I'm really not specific on that, unfortunately. Yeah. But I would definitely know what I don't want. And guess what I think about? All the time.
Yeah, that's what's in your mind. Yeah, absolutely. And, again, you have to be very purposeful on what it is that you want. You've got to think on purpose. You got to put things in your mind on purpose. Because if you don't, you're just going to automatically have shit grow in your mind. That's just the way it is. And we've all been, there's a lot to it, but we've all been programmed to think the way we think. By the time you were, 7 or 8 years old, you were programmed for your environment. And that program still resides in you today. There's, some churches that say, give me the man before, or give me a kid before 7, I'll give you a man. It's like, people have understood for a long time that most of our belief system is put into us by the time we're that age. And we don't even see it. We don't know it. We really weren't even around to, consciously think about it. And that's why they were programmed into us. But if we don't make the conscious decision to change those, to recognize and change those, it doesn't matter what you do. It's like Psycho-Cybernetics, fantastic, book. It's like, if you wanted to go on a diet, we are all fantastic on going on diets. Where focus goes, energy flows. So if I'm on a diet, I'm focused on it for 2 weeks, but the second I don't focus on it, guess where I go back to? My beliefs, the way I was, and I go right back to where I was when I started. So you have to purposely change your beliefs. You have to purposely change the way that you perceive yourself. And there's so many ways to do it. It's, anything from, just sitting back, visualizing, remembering your future. One of the things that I absolutely love to do, and it's what I call act as if. It's not fake it till you make it. I don't believe in faking it till you make it. It's act as if. Act as if you were already there. Act as if you already had it. See yourself already the person that you're wanting to become. And that actually helps change your beliefs in yourself. Because when you see it, like when you do the remember your future, when you see it, but more importantly, when you feel it, that's what changes internally. You have to have emotions with those thoughts in order to change, to actually change the beliefs.
There was a conference I was at, and the guy told a story about the fact that he asked all of his clients. They came. It was actually Matt. It was in San Diego. It was on the aircraft carrier down there in downtown.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
they threw a big party on it, and they said you have to come as your future self. And so people.
So you showed up in your diamond encrusted aircraft carrier?
I just showed up naked. I mean, it was
Oh, okay.
But I mean, people are acting as if people were walking around. This one guy, the story cracked me up because the guy was talking like to all these like supermodels. Like, what's the name of a supermodel? Anybody got one name? Giselle. Let's go with Giselle. It's the only one I can actually think of. Giselle. No, babe. Look, I've told you it's over. Like, we can't do this anymore. We can't talk. We can't talk. I have other people. And you were walking around doing that, and they were acting as if. Oh, by the way, Matt, just so you know, I talked to T Swift on text, and she sent me a little hello message for you.
Oh, great, thanks.
That's just for you. But acting as if it is something that I haven't done in a long time, Sean, and it is something that I'm going to get back into, because acting as if you were a millionaire, billionaire, trillionaire, president of the United States, horrible fucking job. Matt Johnson. I mean, Gene Volpe. I mean, if you're going to try to be any of these legends, Sean Osborn. I mean, these guys are legends. And if you want to be those folks, just visualize. And when it comes to visualizing, I mean, do you have to sit there and meditate with like incense and shit, or do you just have to walk around thinking about it?
Just thinking about it. And that's why you put up these dream boards. You talked about, putting up these dream boards. If you constantly see those things, that automatically puts into your mind, hey, that's important to me. So let me ask you this. How many of you, have you guys bought a nice new car? Like Greg, you bought that new car you've seen. Let me ask you this. The second you pulled off the lot, did you not see 20 of those motherfuckers on the road?
Bitches were everywhere.
Because
I couldn't believe it.
Because your mind. So that's the thing. Your mind now says that's important to me. So guess what it pulls out of all the data that you're getting, your senses you're getting, is what it thinks is important to you. So when you say when you do meditation, when you do these dream boards, when you do these things, it's telling your subconscious mind, hey, this is important to me. This is what I want. And it's going to automatically go out and find how can it manifest that into its physical nature. Now you have to take action. I mean, obviously, you can't go down and buy, a nice Ferrari with your thoughts. I mean, you've got to take the action. But the thing is until you believe it, you're not even going to have the thoughts. You're not going to accept the thoughts to get there. So, for instance, when I'm driving,
let's go back to
go ahead.
Really quickly. When you say if you don't believe it, so if you're just like, oh my god, like the generalities, you have to be specific. So shotgun versus laser pointed, sniper rifle, right? So when it comes to believing it, what if I'm in bankruptcy or I got $10 to my name and I don't believe, but I think that I want to be a millionaire? How do you shift from one point of view to the other? Because I mean, then you get scatterbrained if you're like, oh my god, I'm so scared about everything. Walk me through believing, because I think that's a really big point.
And so the thing with most beliefs, most people don't even know what they believe. They truly don't know what their beliefs are. And until you know what your beliefs are, you're not going to be able to change them. Now you can force change them. You can do things like, the vision boards and all that kind of stuff to force change a belief. But it's hard to go and narrow down what a belief is. And to me, the best way to know what a belief is, what our beliefs are, is to look around in your life. Because if you're not where you want to be, it's 100% because of a belief that you have that you're not seeing what it takes to get to the next level of wherever it is. If you're not healthy, like you think you should be or you want to be, it's because you have some underlying belief that says, I'm not a healthy person, whatever the belief is, but there's something subconsciously that you don't even know about that is holding you where you are. And again, even if you go and you make a focus effort at it, until you change that belief, the second you pull your mind off that and you go into autopilot, you're going to go right back to that area. So you have to force the changes. The biggest thing is like I'll take people through, like, what do you think about people? What are your thoughts about money? Is it the root of all evil? Is it the, if you have these thoughts of money, let me ask you this, finish this sentence. Money doesn't
grow on trees.
Buy happiness. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know these things. I mean, the second you cannot get financially successful if you subconsciously think that money's evil. If you think that where you think the word filthy rich came from, it's not because they're dirty people. It's not because they're they don't take baths. You go into $1 million neighborhood. Their yards are awfully pretty nice. It's not a whole bunch of trash. People say filthy rich because we've been programmed to believe that people with money are dirty. They're evil. They're and if you have that in your mind, I don't care what you do, it's always going to drive the belief or the thoughts that you have about money. It's going to be very hard to get better at money if in the back of your mind, money's evil. We don't want to be evil.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. And there's all sorts of things. Yeah. I mean, because I can see people struggle with this coming into real estate. They struggle with it coming into sales, and they struggle with it coming into any kind of like entrepreneurial venture. Just that you hit the nail on the head. There's all kinds of limiting beliefs around money. There's all kinds of limiting beliefs around success and what kind of person that makes them. Because we kind of live in a society right now where the status has been flipped on its head. So the more of a victim you are, the higher status you have, and the less of a victim you are, the lower social status you have, right? And it's a weird environment we're living in. And people come out of this mentality, they go to college or whatever, and they're just steeped in that for 4 years, that whoever has the most victim groups that you can claim gets to have the highest status. And then you get into something like sales, and none of that stuff matters. It's literally the exact opposite. Like you have to kind of cleanse yourself of all those negative beliefs. I mean, I can say for myself, just coming from a couple of different, religious backgrounds, like all in one childhood, like wildly different, going from one where poverty was a good thing to one where if you weren't doing really well, something was very wrong with you. Just the complete opposite side of the spectrum. I had to deal with a lot of that stuff, and I'm still not entirely clear how to get those limiting beliefs kind of out of the way, which I'm very curious to ask. I've just had to you talked about acting as if. I had to act as if I didn't have any of those limiting beliefs because I had to move forward. Yeah. And that got me to where I am. But once you recognize, so let's say you isolate a particular limiting belief, you're making some money, but there's still discomfort with it. You kind of feel like, you still got a little of that residual. If, I can make this amount of money, but if I make this amount of money, that kind of makes me a bad person. My whole social group is not on board with it. I don't know anyone that makes that much money. It's not part of my reality. So once you identify that limiting belief and it's preventing you from kind of getting to the next level, how do you deal with it just on a very practical level?
So I think the one thing to keep in mind, and something that's very important, is we all have to take baby steps. We all have to, for instance, let's say your dream car is, a Lamborghini. If you tried to act as if, and you tried to think of thoughts that, it's a Lamborghini or nothing, chances are you're going to give up. Chances are you're going to quit. But if you look at the big picture and you say, okay, well, my next car is going to be a Mercedes. Not only will it, when you get there, will it actually drive you to get, okay, now I'm here. Now let's go for the Lamborghini. You have to take it in steps, and it's a success loop. So success builds upon success. If you're making $10 an hour and you think, okay, I'm going to change my beliefs. I can do $15 an hour now, and you start taking action, you start having those thoughts to get $15 an hour, those turn into your growth and then your results. And now your thoughts like, well, what if I can do $20 an hour? And it's just a continuous loop on belief. So it's, you got to think very big, but you have to have steps within it. And here's the biggest thing: you don't know, you should not know how to do it. If you have a dream and you know how you're going to do it, then it's not a big enough dream. Because if you knew how to do it, you'd already be there. It goes back to, you hear the saying, the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, the happy get happier, the sad get sadder. It's all that mindset. Why do you think a person that has money can lose every single penny and within a few years be back on top with with money. You look at all the people that have done this. I mean, it's not, and then you look at someone who, for instance, won a lottery and within a few years they're broke. It's all because that's where their mind is. And you cannot maintain what you don't believe.
So it goes back to programming, because you're
Yeah.
at that point they're at a certain, and that goes. I'll put my conspiracy hat on. I mean, it's programmed. You're like a TV show. Like you're on a set schedule.
Yep.
But you can shift that. Who's the gentleman who wrote the book "You Can't Hurt Me"? You guys know who I'm talking about? He's like a Navy
Goggins.
SEAL. Yeah. David Goggins. He was a fat rat catcher, right? And scared of everything, couldn't swim. But he put his mind and he shifted his entire life, and now has been an inspiration to probably tens, if not hundreds of millions of people, because he did something completely uncomfortable, Sean, like you were talking about. It has to be something you can't be. If you're in your comfort zone, because there's your comfort zone, your stress zone, and your growth in your stretch zone. And your comfort zone, you're sliding backwards super fucking fast. You're gonna land in a pile of shit. Your stress zone is something that you're completely afraid of. It's like when Matt goes outside, guys, he pees in bottles. It's incredible when he goes outside for walks. You know, that's his stress zone.
I pee in bottles because of the sheer terror of being outside of my place.
Humans. And so we're gonna put him in his stretch zone where he can, he'll step one foot outside and then step back. But I mean, the analogy and the funny jokes all aside, I mean, there are the things that scare the shit out of you, and that's your stress. And then you start doing those more and more, and then they become your stretch, where you are a little bit more stressed out, but you continually do them on a consistent basis, and your growth is exponential. Sean, would you concur with that thought pattern, or am I completely off the reservation?
Absolutely. You've always got to be growing. All of it. I mean, it's especially the peeing in the bottle. I mean, that's
that's the most important part.
But yeah, you have to, you constantly have to stretch and do things outside. And to me, the bigger, the better. So for instance, this sign right here, that was my first Ironman that I completed. Yeah, that was my first Ironman that I completed. So 2 years prior to that, I was about 300 pounds. I could not run to my cupboard to get a Twinkie out without getting winded. I didn't know how to swim at all. I did my first swim. I did 25 yards, and I seriously thought I was going to die. So within 2 years, I did a full Ironman. I did, but here's what I did. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I set a goal. I set a big effing goal. Okay. A marathon. Who wants to do a marathon? That's for that's for chicks.
For
come on, pussies. We're if we're gonna go big. So I'm gonna do an Ironman. So 2 years, but I had to chunk it down, and that's how we do everything in life. So we have this huge, tremendous goal. I want to make $100 million. I want to make $1 billion. Whatever that huge goal is. But then how do you get there? You got what's the next step? All you have to do is know your next step. All I knew is okay. I had to at least get off my ass and start walking. So that was, step one. So you just break it up in steps. Then I did, sprint triathlons, these little, sprint triathlons, then Olympic distant triathlons, then half Ironmans, and then full Ironmans. But it's all a process. I had no idea how I was going to do it. But I knew that drawing the line in the sand, making the decision, once we make the decision, that's when shit happens. Once we make the decision, that's when stuff happens.
Remember the Indiana Jones movie when he was at this giant crevasse and he couldn't see his way through it? He didn't know how he was going to get there. He's like, fuck, I'm so screwed. And then he thought outside the box. He grabbed a handful of sand and he threw it. All of a sudden, what he was seeing shifted, and he could see his path across the crevasse. And he was able to go after and chase the treasure he was going for. And the camera angle moved, and you could see how big it was, and it was always there. You just weren't looking at it right. That comes down to like having a BHAG, right? A big, hairy, audacious goal. Was your Ironman your BHAG?
One of them, yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing. I didn't care about actually doing the Ironman. I didn't care about finishing the Ironman. I knew that in order to do that, in order to be at the finish line in Ironman, who I was going to have to become to get there. It wasn't about the Ironman. Absolutely not about that. It was, I knew that if I was to get there, I was going to have to get healthy. I knew I was going to have to get in shape. I knew I was going to have to do all of these things in order to be at that finish line. The finish line should never be the goal. I mean, that's, we're putting that up there. It's a great thing to do, but you have to become, you are never bigger than you are. You have to become more to be more. And the only way to be more is action. You have to continually push yourself to be more. If you think about it, if we don't grow from where we are today you're as good as you're ever going to be. And that's a sad fucking thought to think. Today I'm the best I'm ever going to be. If I don't, yeah. Yeah. So you've got to continually grow and push yourself. I mean, it's, everyone should always have one of those big audacious goals. Always have that up there. Have it where you can see it, because when we put things away and we don't see it, we forget. If we don't see that shit every single day, and that's why you put up these dream boards. That's why you put them on your refrigerator. That's why you write them on your mirror. That's why you do all these things, is because you constantly have to. The second you lose focus on anything, you drift right back to your comfort zone.
So if someone, I mean, I had literally, Matt has seen this, but I mean, I had an 8-foot wall by probably 6 or 7 feet, and it was a giant, dream board. Right.
Yeah.
It was pretty obnoxious for my entire team, but I didn't give a royal fuck. If people don't have the opportunity for that,
it looked like a teenager's bedroom is what it looked like.
It did. It did.
Basically just a bunch of, it was cars and chicks and houses and boats. And yeah, it was really funny.
It had a hold, what was her name? Farrah Fawcett poster on there.
Yes,
God,
exactly.
yeah. Are you kidding me? In the
Circa 1976. Sure. Exactly.
In a Trans Am.
I mean, how would someone keep something in mind? And Gene, you're fucking creeping me out when you're so quiet, man. Like, seriously, I think you're plotting Matt's death. It's just weirding me out. But how would someone like Matt or Gene or me or Bob or Sue or Phil or Stacy, whoever is listening to this, how would you keep it front of mind? Is there a routine? Is there a course? Is there some way to mentally stimulate yourself to keep those dreams and goals and desires front of mind, so you never lose the faith?
Yeah, and everyone's going to be different. Some people can do it by just sitting down and thinking about things. Some people daydreaming. Daydreaming is one of the best things you can do. I mean, honestly, and when I was a kid growing up, before I got kicked out of 9th grade, they used to say, "Sean, stop daydreaming. Stop daydreaming." We absolutely have to do the daydreaming. But I always ask my students, this: do you have a place? Do you brush your teeth every day?
Nope. Oh, yes. The public answer, yes. Sorry.
Do you have a place every day? Do you have a place every day that you go to brush your teeth? Yeah. It should be the same. You should have something that you schedule every day. You go to a spot, whatever it is that you do, but you have to do it every day. It's like your teeth. You got to brush your teeth every day. If you don't, again, you go back to psycho-cybernetics. The second you lose focus, until you make it habit, the second you lose focus, it's gone. You're back to your old ways.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because it's I think the value of thinking big or thinking bigger than you're normally comfortable, that's a lot of the values right there. Getting over the hump until something becomes such a habit that it becomes autopilot, and then it becomes part of your identity, right? Yeah. And it changes how you look at yourself. Like take someone like Nick Sakis, for example, who's the who Greg mentioned before we went live. So Nick has lost something like, and Greg, correct me if I'm wrong, 100+ pounds.
Yeah, almost 170.
Is it almost 170 over the last, I would say, year to a year and a half? Whenever he started his kind of health journey, he was a big boy.
400
and was it 400 and change? Yeah,
like almost like we're verging on 500 at that point.
Right. So I think like having that big goal, getting yourself over the hump of getting into action. But once you get the habit established, not only is the habit established, but it starts to change how you see yourself. Like Nick starts to see himself as a person who exercises. That's not something other people do. I'm the guy that sits on the couch. It becomes, you start to see yourself differently. That's where the real power, like it starts to like settle in and take root more deeply. And that's where that stuff, you talk about kind of who do I have to be to get what I want? Well, well, how do you can't just imagine yourself into a new person. It's the taking action part of it is like that. It's the taking consistent action that changes your perception of who you are. That's why I think just the combination of the concepts from psycho-cybernetics, and then you pair that with some of the stuff that Napoleon Hill talked about in Outwitting the Devil, like hypnotic rhythm. Yeah, like get yourself over the hump and into hypnotic rhythm, to where hypnotic rhythm doesn't keep you eating cheeseburgers. Hypnotic rhythm keeps you eating steak and veggies for lunch every day or something like that. Like if you can just tap into that power, you get yourself into a positive rhythm, and then it starts to change who you are. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, I'm not the guy that eats cheeseburgers every day. I want one today, but I'm not that guy. And I think that's where the real power is.
Yeah. And once you get to a point, you keep it so focused where you do it every day, you do it, whatever it is, you do it every day until it becomes such a habit. It's like when I first started running, I absolutely would not run. I hated it. It was something I did not enjoy. And by 6 months, literally every day at lunchtime, I was out running. And it was such a habit that even on my non-run days, I would feel my body would say, you've got to go run. And I would go run. You build that into your habits, and habits are what, habits will keep things going. Your passion, I want to do this. I want to get this. But until you keep focused enough, long enough to build it a habit, again, it's psycho-cybernetics. You go back to what you're programmed to do.
You know what? The funny thing is, Sean, when it comes to your Iron Man, I 3+ years ago, my girlfriend went and did a Spartan race, right? Mm-hmm. And she came back so excited about it. I mean, she lit me on fire, and I'm like, I want to do one with you as well. And my habits, I mean, I wasn't fat, but I wasn't healthy. Let's put it that way, right? And she's like, can you even run a quarter mile? I legitimately said, I don't fucking know. Let's try it out and see what happens. So I went and ran, and I could do a quarter, and I could do a half. I can do a full mile. Then I've got up to the point where I can run 6, 7, 10 miles with doing burpees and push-ups and everything else. But everything that you're saying is right on point, because everything that I did was in stages. And it wasn't overnight. It was definitely not overnight. And was it painful? Absolutely at times. Yeah. Gene had to bail. So we'll see him again. Bye, Gene.
I was going to say, Greg, right before you launched in that story, I'm like, oh, you just guaranteed Gene has to just bail from the show because you weren't.
Well, he added so much value today.
He did. He was such a loudmouth. I mean, John, I'm so sorry you didn't get to talk.
I know, exactly. Oh my God. Well, if anybody wants to contact Gene, go to genevolpe.com. I guess I'll give his call to action for him since he had to bail. By the way, Sean, what's the best way to connect and just kind of get linked up with you and listen to the podcast and all that fun stuff?
Yeah, the best thing is thinkingbig.info. That takes you right to my site. And if you're in podcast, Thinking Big Podcast. And again, I try having people on that. The whole goal of the podcast is to ways that people have thought big. And to me, again, I say it on my podcast, but success leaves clues. And, one of the methodologies I talk about is if you were to go through a landmine, where you get your damn leg blown off, if you were to go through a landmine, how would you do that?
Thinking big.
Well, I don't know if I wouldn't run as fast as I could. What I would do is I would look for someone who's been through that landmine, and I would take every step exactly the way that person did it. I wouldn't deviate at all. Because if you take the same steps, if you look at someone that's successful, whatever it is, whether it's in finances and health, whatever it is, and you do exactly what they did, guess what you're going to get? The exact same results that they got. So the podcast is all about bringing on people that have done things, and how did they do that? How did they get past that? How did they think big into what they were getting?
Dude, I could literally listen to your voice all day long.
It's the microphone.
I know. He does have the Joe Rogan microphone.
He does.
That's right.
And by the way, I just subscribed to your podcast.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, I am I'm seriously gonna fucking binge the shit out of this thing. I mean, and the reason why I like it, one is your voice is like soothing as shit. You're like, oh yes, sir. You want $100 million of mine? Okay, here's my routing number. But it's also your knowledge, and this is no joke. You and I think a lot alike, and it's really encouraging to hear another person think this way, because I think a lot of people need to think this way. And I'm really excited to come on your show. And I really appreciate you asking me. And
Come on. But hold on. So Chris was just on, was just last week. So I'm starting to put this stuff on YouTube as well. But we started talking, and one of the things I said is, okay, I know it's not financially responsible, but I really, I have an argument with my wife. I want a money gun. I want it.
The one that shoots money?
Yeah. So he goes, he gets a damn money gun out and he shoots hundreds at the, like, so you actually have
Chris Noggle has a money gun.
He has a money gun.
Yeah. And he was just, it wasn't loaded with ones. See, I would put ones in it. It was loaded with hundreds.
I was in Vegas. This is not a joke. I was in Vegas with my girlfriend and a bunch of her friends, and we were in a cabana pool party, right? And there was this gentleman who he literally had a harem of women, all chicks, just him and all girls. They had these like boats of liquor and planes of liquor. It was the craziest damn thing. He brought out 2 money guns, and he would just like make it rain bitches and just like started firing off money all over the place. And I had it on camera, Matt. I'll send you these photos, but it's hilarious.
My wife doesn't want me to have one for some reason.
Maybe it's the harem of women that come with money guns that might have something to do with that. All right, Greg, how do people reach out and connect with you besides firing a money gun at you? Because that apparently gets you to come running.
I couldn't. There was a bouncer the size of Mount Everest in front of me. So there's no way
that's
to
too
get
bad.
to him.
That's why you got to be quick. You got to be quick on your feet. You
got to be agile. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Guys, go ahead and reach out to me. 925-915-1978 is my cell phone. You guys see it on the bottom of the screen. That is the number. I'll schedule Matt to come over on a Saturday morning, 6 a.m. He will clean your car with rocks. We have how many people? We have 245 satisfied customers with Yelp reviews right now. So it's a growing business. It's fantastic. He'll fly anywhere in the country to do this. But yeah, reach out to me and just let's talk about EXP and kind of what we're building and how it's growing and some of the stuff we're doing. Guys, we've just inked a deal with a company called Clever Leads, spelled with a K, and we are doing independent trucking. And we knock off 70% of the markup that the normal trucking companies do. And it is an absolute game changer when it comes to your business marketing. I'm getting referrals coming out of the woodwork through this thing. It's not a joke. So call me about that and we'll go from there. Sean, I'm sure there's a better way than calling you. They just want to listen to your podcast and hear your voice, right?
Yep. Podcast and Thinking Big Info. They'll have everything. And so one of the things that I offer is so I've trained under Tony Robbins, and anybody who comes to the site, I will do a free 6 needs. Everybody has 6 human needs that they need to be met. That's one of the things that Tony's famous for. But if you do that 6 needs test, I will personally look at it. I will personally send you a link of what your needs are and how you meet them from a positive standpoint and a negative standpoint. So anybody listening, if you go there, more than happy to take that test. Because again, if you don't know, you can't fix it.
Wow. Matt, have you subscribed to that yet?
Talking about the podcast, or are you jokingly asking me about the 6 needs?
What do you think?
I have a pretty good handle. I need all 6 things.
Now,
whatever they are, exactly. I want all 6 of them. Oh my God. All right. And then for me, go to getmicrofamous.com.
Yeah, no. Wait. We have this for you. He wrote a pamphlet. It's fantastic. You guys should definitely get it. When I joke, when I say pamphlet,
a small tract. Mm-hmm.
Small tract, yes. He wrote a phenomenal book, guys. I fuck with Matt all the time, and he fucks with me. But this legitimately is an amazing book. Well thought out, well written. Everything is phenomenal on it. If you haven't gotten it, get it. It will literally change your mindset. So there you go. All jokes aside.
And plus, as a prospect told me the other day, the front cover looks like a uterus. So there you go. That's what happens when you talk to an OBGYN. So now you have that. Now you have that, Greg, to make fun of me for. So apparently, my book looks like a uterus.
What it looks like to me.
Exactly. All right, Sean, this has been a blast. We appreciate you rolling with the punches. I know we
you.
had a good time, but this is the perfect kind of episode where we get to laugh a lot, but then the content in between the jokes are really, really good. To me, that's an ideal episode, because then people do walk away, and hopefully there was something life changing that people take away from it. Because I mean, this is really what you're talking about is kind of, I don't know, just the fundamental building blocks of how human beings work and how we change and how we get better. And this is stuff that you can apply. I don't care if you're in real estate or not, or what your goals are. If they're, you may apply this stuff to your fitness. You may apply this stuff to your family life. Like this is the fundamentals. So I love talking about this stuff. So we appreciate you. Greg, I know we need to pick a color for the bow that we shall be tying around this episode.
You have to let me ask that. That's my role in this show.
I know, but if I let you ask it, you'll talk for another 5 minutes, and I've got a call with your brother in like now.
That's fine. He can fucking wait. Okay.
Okay. Let's go with sky blue. Let's go with sky blue for the color of this bow. Yeah.
All right, guys. We're gonna do sky blue, but I want you to remember 3 different phrases. Remember your future, act as if, and do. What is it? Where the fuck's the other one I wrote down?
Get a money gun.
Get him.
And
That's
Sean
right.
takes the show right there. All right, guys, there it is. We're going to put a sky blue bow on the show. Thank you so much for watching, listening, and hanging out with us. We truly love you and appreciate you. We would not be here without you guys. Give us a 5-star, not a 2-star review on anywhere you guys listen or watch podcasts. Please mention Sean, Matt, or myself, or Gene, or whoever else if you found value in anything that was put out in this show. We love you to pieces. And until next time, peace out, ninjas. We go!